definitely. And what sort of mistakes do you see people making when trying to actually grow their boot camps to multiple sites?
I think, I mean, the fitness industry is quite trend based, and I know there was like I blogged about it and mentioned it a few times. There was a bit of a period where everyone thought it was really cool to have quite big numbers in the boot camp, and that was like almost like a sign of your success, if you like. Stack as many numbers in as possible, and that's fantastic. 'Cause it's showing that you're attracting people, and that's all well and good. And then that moved along a little bit, and it was almost a kind of a case of everyone realised that they had to grow to make it a business rather than a job, and people were trying to just pop up different venues here, there, and everywhere. And I think probably one of the key mistakes was people losing sight of the fact that they were trying to grow it to make money and not cause themselves more hassle. So they might have been growing in number of venues, but I think there's probably a lot of guys, and this is only an outside observation looking in, but I've kind of fallen in this trap myself in the past. And again, just kind of looking at bootcamp business building, like looking at fitness training, progression and regression is quite important. I've probably got less boot camps now than I have had at other points previously, when we've maybe grown a bit quick and I've had a wrong person in and we've had to pull back out, or we've gone into an area where we've gone into it a bit half-hearted and it's maybe not the right area for us to be in, so we've pulled back out. And I think one of the things is, don't be too proud to admit that you've moved into an area that hasn't quite worked. Any kind of business person or fitness person that tells you everything that they do works first time is either very lucky or a liar. And that it is a learning curve. We've kind of moved into time slots that haven't really worked, so we've kind of progressed forward, we've regressed back. I knocked 3 boot camps out of our stable probably back end of last year. I actually ended up handing them on to the instructor that was doing it, but it just wasn't really working for me, for him delivering it how I kind of wanted it to be. And he's doing fine with them. He's made them his own, and that's all working out nicely for him. So I think probably going back to the actual mistakes, getting back on topic, it's probably a case of, rather than thinking about growing in number of sites, have a look at actually what kind of profit level, what income levels it's going to generate you. And we're not just talking total turnover there. Think about the admin time it's going to take, hassle, venues, any kind of headaches, and the format that you do it. That was, in all honesty, that was the reason that I went down the franchise route, because covering those sessions is those individual franchisees' responsibility. It's not my responsibility. So I think from that point of view, you've got to really, really think about what you are actually trying to achieve, and does it fit with where you're going. Another mistake that I see a bit, kind of similar flow really, is trying to grow too quickly and maybe delving into different areas. One of the main benefits that we've had with our franchises, with the initial ones being close together, we're probably, the 2 guys in York are maybe like 6-7 miles apart, and I'm about another 15 miles away from the nearest one of them. But we found that the cross-sell between people has been pretty big. Everyone working in the centre of York, all living in different areas, and they're then referring friends on to each one of us. So the actual referral side of it's quite beneficial. So I think sometimes people maybe just delve about into different areas of the country without much of a strategy. If they know someone, that can work, but I think you're a lot stronger starting off and really trying to dominate an area. We joke about ours being the York Triangle, because we're kind of literally, if you plotted us on a map, we'd kind of triangulate the whole of York. So we're pretty much within 5 miles of everyone around the city centre, and I actually cover out into Selby, and I even attract into Goole as well from where I am, because there's nothing really the quality we're offering out there and near us. Probably next one along, and this is, if I'm honest, this is more hearsay and slight observation, is that people don't necessarily train their instructors well enough. So they've got people out there working under their banner, working under their name, and they've just sort of chucked them out into it, and the instructors are doing whatever they feel like. So the sessions aren't consistent. You want to get it, whatever you're running, whichever way you decide to go down, profit split or franchise really, so that if one of your clients and their friend work together and they go to 2 of your different boot camps with different instructors, that they're still using the same terminology, all part of kind of like building your tribe, the language. Like we go on about bungalow days for the days when you wish you lived in a bungalow because you can't get up and down stairs. We talk about Bambi legs and things like that, happy burpee, all the kind of terminology that gets used. In an ideal world, they want to be at work and be able to speak the same bootcamp language. They want to kind of know that they're doing the same warm-ups and the same workouts are getting called the same names. So it's quite key that if you are going to grow out, that you do spend the time training your instructors and getting them so that everyone's singing off the same song sheet. And again, that will then lead to the consistency across the board with your camps. There's nothing worse, I don't think, than imagine a scenario that someone goes to work and they say, oh, we did the Hurt Locker today, it was a really hard workout, and their friend goes, oh yeah, I hate all those burpees, and then the first friend says, well, there wasn't any burpees in my version of it, and straight away it's just putting a bit of doubt in people's minds. The big thing that the gym chains have probably against maybe some of the more independent operators is that they do have service standards and they do strive for consistency, and you know, you go into kind of like most of the big chains and they're all set out in a similar format. The joining process is the same. The the induction process is the same, and there is consistency there. And I think we've got a much stronger product than those big chains, but we need to start delivering the consistency that a lot of the kind of the bigger franchises deliver, and the bigger chains deliver. And the example I often use when I'm sort of doing the business coaching stuff is places like Subway and McDonald's. You kind of, people go to them not necessarily because it's the best sandwich or the best burger, and obviously as Fit Pros cost, we don't eat any of that, but they go there because it's consistent and they know what to expect, and they know whichever McDonald's they go in, time after time after time, it's going to be delivered to them in the same way, same style. And proud to say, August 1995, I was McDonald's crew member of the month for the York store.
That's amazing.
So I've still got the plaque, I believe, somewhere. I joke about it, but
it's in your office, isn't it? It's right.
It's way ahead of all my rep certificates and everything else. But no, the whole thing about that was drilled into was that you follow the system, and the training was there. And although it's fast food, that only works, and that stuff only works if you follow the system. And they've got systems for everything, from how they cook the burgers to how they get wrapped to how they rotate the stock, to how the stock gets brought down from upstairs into the back room, and everything, and even their actual training and development program for the staff. I mean, I know people that started there the same time as me many moons ago. I mean, we'd just sort of finished GCSE exams, O-levels even, and they're now management there, which, each to their own kind of thing, but they've just gone through their staff development program, and everything's mapped out. And although we joke about it, kind of McDonald's and Subways and some of those big franchise businesses are good businesses for you to look at and learn from as to how you can replicate things within your own fitness business. And as you know, I've mentioned it to you before in conversations, that looking outside of fitness is vital a lot of the time to progress you on and develop you. My favourite franchise reference, and people often say to me, who would you like to be compared with? And I like to think of myself as being a bit of a Rosemary Connolly, because she was the original fitness and nutrition woman, and she kind of kept her name at the head of her brand and kept control of it, and everyone wanted to work with Rosemary, but there was consistency all the way across, and it's nothing to do with wanting to wear Lycra either, or a unitard.
Yeah, that's great advice there, mate. So in one sentence, what words of wisdom would you give to someone who's starting out in the health and fitness industry?
I think if you're just starting out, again, it's getting covered again a little bit more. I've been a big fan of it for a while. Think strategy over tactics. Decide what it is you're trying to create, really, before creating it. I've kind of done mine a little bit back to front, but luckily with having a business background before, I was able to identify that and correct it as I went. I would sit down and just decide really what your business goals are and what your personal goals are, and get those two lined up. That's probably the most important thing. Decide, for example, there's no good, if you hate mornings, running a 6:15 in the morning boot camp just because it could be profitable is never really going to be a long-term success, because you'll grow to resent it. You'll hate getting out of bed. So my main kind of key bit of advice really would be to try and align your business goals with your personal goals. Me personally, I love the mornings, but I've got a 2.5-year-old who doesn't give me a lot of choice in the matter. So getting up early is not a problem, whereas I'd rather have time in the evening with my family. So again, we're going through like a shift pattern of me moving away from working evenings. But yeah, I think it's a case of deciding exactly what it is that you want to achieve, and write it down as well and commit to it, and decide what your business is going to look like. Again, something that I picked up from Dax Moy when I was sort of first following him on PTSA was decide what your business wants to look like what your business will look like when it's grown up. And I think that's quite a nice way to think of it, because your business does go through different stages. It does sort of start out in its infancy, and you're still learning, everything's a bit new. And then at the kind of extreme end of it, what's your end goal really, I suppose, is what that's getting at. Where is your business going to go? What's going to happen with it? What's your lifestyle going to be like around it? And I think if you keep that in mind, you're not going to go far wrong. I know that was a lot more than one sentence, but as you know, I'm not very good at keeping to time.
That's all good. Definitely good advice. Just basically decide what you want to do, decide what it's going to look like at the end, and just go do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, being laser focused. Someone asked the question the other day, sort of what one thing would you do if you were starting afresh in the fitness industry? And I think for me, yeah, I would still look at the competition and look at what else is going on, because I'm a big believer in not reinventing the wheel, kind of replicate and improve upon stuff that's already working, but stay laser focused on exactly what I want to do and not get influenced so much by other opportunities that crop up and what other people are doing, basically. So I think that'd be the main thing. So there you go. There it is in a sentence. Stay laser focused on what you want to achieve. Laser focused.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for giving us all that content today.
No problem.
It's an amazing insight into yourself and sort of your business. Like you really are the systems geek a little bit.
Yeah, it does help though. It's kind of and again I've said this before. It's not very rock and roll, but it's like the cornerstone that the business is built on. It's like trying to build a house without sticking your foundations down first. You can build it up, but it's probably going to fall down pretty quickly if you don't get those systems nailed first.
That's it, 100%. So finally, where can the listeners find out more information about you?
I've got there's two main sites. There's www.groupfitnessblueprint.co.uk, which has got a few things about the products and bits and pieces on, and then there's a free members site, a Ning site for bootcamp owners or group fitness owners, which is www.blueprintyourbootcamp.ning.com. And that's just a free site, and people can just drop in and have a look at the content. I'll also post up any questions as well, because there's a lot of really well-known high-end bootcamp owners on there that can help out, and it's quite a nice little site to drop in on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a member myself, and yeah, I post stuff and sort of network on there. It's fantastic. Yeah. You've done
some great content, and to be honest, I've been the advanced bootcamp instructor qualification I've just come off. That was off the back of networking with someone on there as well. So if anyone's looking for joint ventures and things like that, it's a good way to get to know people and get a feel for people that have got similar kind of beliefs to yourself as well.
Yeah, that's 100%. I'll put up links for the guys to check out all your stuff on.
Excellent, yeah. Cool.
I recommend everybody just to read everything that Mark's written, because it's absolutely amazing. Definitely helped me out a lot, Mark.
Good stuff, and you absolutely smashed it.
Absolutely, always, mate, always. You know that. Cool. Well, I'll speak to you soon, Mark, and thanks again for.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah, I'll see you real soon.
Excellent. Cheers.
Cheers, Mark. See you, mate.
Cheers. See you. Bye.
Bye.